Welcome to the Dugout. I'm your host, Joseph Silva, and baseball season is finally back, which means over the next month and a half, I'm going to be taking you division by division, giving you my thoughts on every single team, who the good players are, who the breakout players may be, and most importantly, where they're going to finish in the division. But before we get started, if you're enjoying the content, go ahead and leave a like. Just because football season's over does not mean the content here at the Run the Place Network stops. The boys at the We Know Ball podcast are going to be insufferable because their teams are so good now. Now, we start our preview series with where all baseball discussion starts, and that's the American League East. And finishing last in the division, I hate to say it, it's the Tampa Bay Rays. Overall, their projected lineup thus far is at catcher Alejandro Kirk, who's projected for a bounce-back season at a 120 WRC+. Vladimir Guerrero Jr., you know how good he is. He's projected for a 155 WRC+. At second, newly acquired Andres Jimenez, great defensively, okay offensively. He's projected for a 103 OPS+. Ernie Clement looks like he's going to be the starting third baseman. Maybe they signed Bregman, but for the time it's going to be Clement with a 103 WRC+ as well. Bo Bichette is manning shortstop. He had a down year last year. They're projecting him to bounce back. I don't necessarily see it, but he is projected for a 118 WRC+ regardless. Newly acquired Anthony Santander is your projected left fielder with a 122 WRC+. Massive, massive bat for him. Dalton Varsho is manning center with a 111 WRC+. George Springer in right, bringing a 109 WRC+. And Will Wagner will DH with a 118 WRC+. Overall, this is a very good lineup. I wouldn't say it's one of the best, especially with how hard-hitting this division is, and you'll see that in a little bit. But for me, I see that 118 WRC+ number projected for Bo Bichette, and I'm sorry, I don't believe it. There's an archetype of player I'm very much not a fan of, and it's the free swinger who just does not make a lot of contact here. And yeah, he chased wildly a lot last year, does not walk a lot, but has an average whiff rate, which is better than you can say about some of these players in that archetype. But what's concerning for me and why the hit number went way, way, way down, it was not just the injuries, is he did have his lowest chase contact percentage of the year, lowest barrel rate of his career as well. And quite frankly, if you're chasing that much, you have to make contact if you're chasing. He didn't do it as much. It is very concerning. It's not something that comes back usually with age. I'm cautious on Bo Bichette. I don't think he's going to bounce back whatsoever. On the pitching side, their rotation is fine, I guess. I mean, Kevin Gossman is projected to throw 193 in the third innings with 9 strikeouts per 9, 2.5 walks per 9, 1.2 home runs per 9, 3.89 ERA, and a 3.81 FIP. You know how good Gossman is, man. He's got a fantastic splitter, great fastball. It was kind of a down year by the standards he's set since the pandemic, but he's still a great pitcher overall. I think he's perfectly fine as the ace of the staff. After him, it's Chris Bassett, who's projected to throw 179 innings with an 8.3 strikeouts per 9, 3 walks per 9, 1.2 home runs per 9, a 4.11 ERA, and a 4.181 FIP. Again, Chris Bassett, perfectly fine, serviceable number 2. He's not going to blow the doors off by any means, but he's a good pitcher, and he should continue to pitch like this. Jose Barrios shocked last year with how good he went. He went back to that Minnesota form a little bit. He is projected to throw 191 in the third innings with 7.9 strikeouts per 9, 2.5 walks per 9, 1.3 home runs per 9, 4.29 walks per, or 4.29 ERA, 4.31 FIP. After him, this is kind of a fun name that I think might be a potential breakout pitcher here for the Blue Jays. Bowden Francis. He had a good showing when he came up, kind of struggled a little bit afterwards. I think he's kind of someone to look out for, as he's projected to throw 158 in the third innings, 8.3 strikeouts per 9, 2.5 walks per 9, 1.5 home runs per 9. That was the problem for Francis last year, for the 4.35 ERA and a 4.42 FIP. And finally, this rotation is rounded out by Max Scherzer, who's projected to throw just 124 in the third innings, but still a great 9.5 strikeouts per 9, 2.2 walks per 9, 1.4 home runs per 9, good for a 3.9 ERA and a 3.9 FIP. Overall, you know how good Scherzer is, but does he have that much left in the tank? He didn't look that great his last year in New York. He looked okay pitching with Texas, not up to the Max Scherzer standard. And you're kind of looking for him to pitch to the Max Scherzer standard, be a good 2-3 in this rotation. I don't necessarily see it. Granted, I'm a little biased here, but Max Scherzer I think is still going to be a great pitcher. And in the bullpen, newly acquired Jeff Hoffman looks to be the closer here, and he's projected for 11 strikeouts per 9, 3.1 walks, a home run per 9, and a 3.26 FIP. Hoffman was so good with Philadelphia last year. The only question is, can he close? He didn't necessarily have to do that a lot in Philly. Big jump in pressure. I think he'll be fine. He cannot be worse than Jordan Romano was for them last year. And then, of course, Dodgers legend Yimi Garcia is a fantastic setup/fireman reliever in this bullpen. He is projected for 10.1 strikeouts per 9, 2.7 walks per 9, 1.1 home runs per 9, and a 3.52 FIP. Overall, this is really the last chance for this Blue Jays core. They were highly touted in 18, 19, 2020 when this core started to come up. They've really done jack all, quite honestly. So you got to have some kind of contention plan, some kind of window here, because Vlad has not signed his extension. He may be traded if things go south here. The lineup will be okay. I don't necessarily see a lot of these hitters bouncing back like they're projected to. I don't think Bichette bounces back. I don't think Dalton Varsho is a 111 WRC plus hitter. He's a great defender in center field, don't get me wrong. I just don't think the bat is that good. Springer, I think, should bounce back just fine, maybe. And Kirk, I don't think he's going to put up a 120 WRC plus at catcher. I'm sorry. I'm not that high on this Blue Jays team. Overall, I think they finish 4th. For the team that finishes 5th, it's the Rays, man. The pitching factory of baseball. Let's see how they do. Their lineup offensively, catcher Danny Jansen is starting with a projected 110 WRC plus, followed by the please dear God just hit the ball in the air Yandy Diaz, but he's still projected for a 136 WRC plus because that's how good he is. Brandon Lau is projected for a 117 WRC plus at second base. Junior Caminero has a 122 projected WRC plus at third base because he's so good, man. Taylor Walls is projected to start at shortstop with an 86 WRC plus. Josh Lowe is projected to start at left field with a 109 WRC plus. Dodgers legend Johnny DeLuca, perfectly league average 100 WRC plus in center. Christopher Morel is going to have a 120 or 112 WRC plus projected in right, and at DH, it's Jonathan Aranda with a 119 WRC plus projected. Do not look at a lot of these like low WRC pluses. Are they really going to start? It doesn't look like that strong of a lineup. They platoon very well. You know this about Tampa. And on top of that, too, they're moving from the pitcher-friendly Trop to what looks like it's going to be a very hitter-friendly spring training field in the St. Petersburg area. I think that's going to play a massive factor because we've seen what happens when you play in a smaller ballpark. We're looking at the 2021 Blue Jays, who were just otherworldly that year. Somehow didn't make the playoffs still, but Vlad had his best season up until that point in the smaller ballpark. A lot of players had great offensive seasons in that smaller ballpark. Don't be surprised if the Rays hitters have a lot of great seasons at that smaller ballpark. And in the rotation, it's never been something that's highly touted because they're not going to pitch deep into games. But it's still a lot of great arms in that bullpen, led, of course, by the returning Shane McClanahan. He's projected to throw 161 innings with a 10.1 strikeouts per 9, 2.7 walks per 9, a home run per 9, a 3.31 ERA, and a 3.35 FIP. You know how good McClanahan is. The question is he's coming off a second Tommy John surgery. How many innings can he throw? Can he be reliable? Can he go deep in games? Can he be that 2022 Cy Young contender we saw in that first half of the season before he went down with injury? I think McClanahan will be perfectly fine. I just don't know how much longevity he has going forward. After him, it's going to be Taj Bradley, who has who's projected to throw 170 innings with 9.6 strikeouts per 9, 3 walks per 9, 1.2 home runs per 9, 3.89 ERA, and a 3.91 FIP. Bradley, again, not one of those names you hear a lot about, but a very solid pitcher for the Rays. You can say that about anybody on the staff, quite frankly. After that, it's Ryan Pepiot and his electric changeup, who's projected to throw 165 innings with, again, a 9.6 strikeouts per 9, 3.3 walks per 9, 1.2 home runs per 9, good for a 3.99 ERA and a 4.08 FIP. Pepio, the question has always been, like, can the fastball really live up to where the changeup is? The Rays did their best. He didn't have the year he was expected to moving to Tampa Bay, but he still had a great year overall for him. Zach Littell is next up on the rotation, projected to throw 142 innings, 7.6 strikeouts per nine, 2.2 walks per nine, 1.4 home runs per nine, 4.33 ERA, and a 4.33 FIP projected. Littell, kind of one of those pitchers the Rays just have not been able to crack yet, but they just need someone to give him innings, and that's who they're looking for at this time. And after him, it's Shane Baz. You know about the potential of him, and he's projected to throw 157 innings with 8.6 strikeouts per nine, 3.4 walks per nine, 1.3 home runs per nine, a 4.24 ERA, and a 4.32 FIP. Overall, Shane Baz has been, I don't want to say massively disappointed, but he's definitely been disappointing as one of the premier returns in that infamous Chris Archer trade. It was bad, but it's not as bad as it ended up being for Pittsburgh. But Baz really has to hit that potential. It's in there somewhere. He might have a big year. And in the bullpen, they don't really have a closer, but this is their top arm. It's Pete Fairbanks, who's projected for 10.3 strikeouts per nine, 3.4 walks per nine, under a home run per nine, good for a 3.42 FIP. Fairbanks is going to get a lot of the closing opportunities, but if it's a tight situation, Kevin Cash is going to use him whenever he can. Fairbanks is the top arm in the bullpen. And then this is kind of my breakout pick for the division, because there's always that one guy you're like, who? The Tampa Bay pitching lab is real. They could honestly take me, Anthony, Phil, and Wilson, and we could be a top 5 starting rotation if given enough time in the system for Tampa Bay, quite frankly. And the next success of the pitching lab is going to be Joe Boyle. He's projected for 11 strikeouts per nine, an ungodly 5.4 walks per nine, dear Lord, and under a home run per nine. And I think he saw it with the 5.4 walks per nine. The man needs to work on his command. His pitches only hit the zone 40% of the time. Conversely, hitters were not chasing that much, did not get a lot of swings. But he did get a lot of swings and misses. That's because the slider is so damn good. It is his main strikeout pitch. Has tremendous movement. Do not be surprised if the Rays take him, improve the command, maybe dial back some of the movement on the slider a little bit so it's easier to command. He's got a good fastball too. Do not be surprised if you hear the name Joe Boyle being talked about as one of the most underrated arms in baseball. Now, number 3. This is going to be a surprising one for you guys. I have the Baltimore Orioles here. Yes, the Baltimore Orioles. We know how good the lineup is. At catcher, Adley Rutschman is projected to bounce back with a 124 WRC plus. Ryan Mountcastle is still very good at first with his projected 116 WRC plus. Jackson Holliday, the former top prospect, struggled, showed flashes, but did not have a great rookie year overall. He's projected to have a 108 WRC plus at second. Jordan Westberg is the projected third baseman. He's got a 122 WRC plus projected for the year. He is also very good, very underrated, but may also lose his job depending on how good Kobe Mayo ends up being. At shortstop, I've sung his praises so much. You know how good he is. Gunnar Henderson is a phenomenal player. He's projected to have another great season with a 149 WRC plus. At left field, Colton Cowser had a fantastic rookie year, and they project him to keep it up with a 117 WRC plus. Cedric Mullins, yeah, he's not the guy that tortures you on MLB The Show, but he's still pretty damn good. Solid defensively, a 107 WRC plus. Plays as a 9-hitter. Oh, yeah, and at DH, Ryan O'Hearn has got a 119 WRC plus projected. And how are you going to fill the Santander hole? You're just going to platoon Tyler O'Neill with another bat out there because he's projected for a 115 WRC plus. Had a fantastic year in Boston as well last year. Again, you know how good this lineup is. I did not say a single projected WRC plus below 100. These are all above average bats. This is a fantastic lineup. It is a chore to get through on the best of days. So why am I so pessimistic on this Baltimore team? It's not just the fact that they lost Corbin Burns, but the rotation has always been something that's concerning for them. It's what's come back to bite their asses in the playoffs, quite frankly. Yes, I understand the lineup was ice cold in the wild card series, but the rotation did not look great in that division series against Texas, and you saw it when they went to go get Corbin Burns last season. Grayson Rodriguez is the projected ace of this rotation. He's projected to throw 162 in third innings with 9.6 strikeouts per nine, 2.9 walks per nine, 1.1 home runs per nine, good for a 3.69 ERA and a 3.74 FIP. He is the man Baltimore is betting on to be their ace because they had a lot of chances to go re-sign Corbin Burns, get a Blake Snell, go get a Roki Sasaki, get some kind of pitcher for the staff. And they outright refused, and that's because they're betting on Grayson Rodriguez. The changeup is phenomenal. It's got hitters are hitting 161 against it last year with a 306 slugging, whiff 38.4% of the time. It is a fantastic pitch. The problem is his fastball. It got hit hard in 2023. He made improvements on it. They hit 291 against it. Yeah, that's improvements. That's how just bad the fastball's been. It has an average movement profile, good velocity. They just need to figure something out because that heat map is all over the place. Just command the fastball, throw it in one spot. If he does that, I think he could be an ace. I just don't necessarily buy it. After him, it's Zach Eflin, who was fantastic when he came to Baltimore. He has a 176 innings projected, 7.6 strikeouts per nine, a measly 1.6 walks per nine, 1.3 home runs per nine, good for a 3.93 ERA and a 3.92 FIP. You know how good Eflin was? He just didn't throw that deep into games, but he'll give you a lot of good innings here. After him, it's the perennially underrated and ageless Charlie Morton, who's projected to throw 156 in the third innings pitched, good for 9 strikeouts, 3.5 walks per nine, 1.2 home runs per nine, a 4.20 ERA and a 4.27 FIP. Charlie Morton, you more or less know what you're getting out of him. I don't want to say he's a Chad innings eater, but he's going to eat a lot of innings for them in this rotation. Put up good numbers, just don't expect him to be, 2017, 2018 ground chuck because he's just not that guy anymore. After him, it's Dean Kramer, another one of those arms they were expected to be great. I don't think he's going to be anywhere close to that. He's projected to throw 135 innings with a 7.9 strikeouts per nine, 3 walks per nine, 1.4 home runs per nine, 4.46 ERA and a 4.52 FIP. He has been massively disappointed. He was supposed to be one of those big arms out of that farm system and just hasn't lived up to it, quite frankly. Very disappointing for him to see. Maybe he bounces back. Nothing in his profile indicates as such. And their big offseason acquisition for the rotation is Tomoyuki Sagano. He's projected to throw 141 in the third innings pitched, 6.7 strikeouts per nine, 1.9 walks per nine, a home run and a half per nine, good for a 4.62 ERA and a 4.6 FIP. Sagano was a very untouted arm out of Japan for a reason. He might have been the least touted arm that signed in the past, I want to say 3 or 4 years coming out of the land of the rising sun. And quite frankly, it's because he just doesn't really have anything that profiles. Whereas if you look at Kodai Senga, he has the forkball. If you look at Yamamoto, it's the splitter. It's that fastball slider combo for Shota Imanaga. He doesn't really have anything like that. Yeah, he's got great command, okay stuff. I think he'll be fine. It's just he's pitching in a very rough division. He's pitching, it was a very hitter-friendly ballpark. He's pitching in an okay environment for him. I just don't see a lot that indicates to me that he's going to be a star. He's going to be the next Senga, Yamamoto, Imanaga. I just don't see that for him. And in the bullpen, they're getting Felix Bautista back, and you forget how good he is, but he's projected for 13.1 strikeouts per nine, 3.4 walks per nine, under a home run per nine, good for a 2.76 FIP. Yep. And don't sleep on Keegan Aiken because he's also another great arm out of that bullpen. 10 strikeouts per nine, 2.6 walks per nine, 1 home runs per nine, and a 3.56 FIP. Overall, this Baltimore team has a good bullpen, a fantastic lineup. It's just I do not trust this rotation whatsoever. They have a lot of prospect capital still. Samuel Basallo, I don't know where he'd play. Mountcastle's a good player, and you know how good Rutschman is. He doesn't really have a spot on the team. Kobe Mayo, same thing, is he has to compete with Westberg and Mountcastle for a lineup spot. Maybe use those and go get Dylan Cease or somebody, man, because this team needs an ace desperately if they have any chance of getting over the hump. Now, before I get to the team you guys been wanting me to talk about, been screaming, where are they? We first have to hear a word from our sponsor.
Man, okay, LeBron hit my parlay. Let's get it.
Oh shit, he hit it?
Yeah, bro. Look at this.
I won $200. I told you parlay.
How the heck did you win $200? I used Boom Fantasy. I used their pick and spin, spun the wheel, got 10 times my money.
Bro, you gotta hook me up.
If you use code RTP, you could get a risk-free bet up to $100. Let's get back to the video.
Yeah, that's right. The Boston Red Sox I have as the second best team in the AL East. It doesn't make sense if you look at their lineup. Connor Wong is only projected for a 90 WRC plus. Catcher Tristan Casas is such a good first baseman. He's projected for a 124 WRC plus. After him, their projected opening day second baseman, and I say projected because I will get to why I'm high on this team later, is David Hamilton, who's only projected for 85 WRC plus. Rafael Devers, he's so good at third offensively, not defensively. Offensively. He's expected to put up a 130 WRC plus. Trevor Story is your shortstop with only an 82 WRC plus projection. After him, I know they're projecting Darren Duran to start in left. I don't care. I think Ceddanne Rafaela is probably the left fielder. He's a little bit worse defensively. I'd rather put him there and have Duran at the premium position. Regardless, he's only projected for an 89 WRC plus. Duran, they're expecting to take a step backwards. I don't think he's going to put up the numbers he did in his electric 2024, but still great defense and a 111 WRC plus in center. Plays no matter what. After him, Willier Abreu, your right fielder, is projected for 108 WRC plus, and at DH, Masataka Yoshida and his 116 WRC plus holds down the spot. Arguably, this is the worst lineup in the division. So why am I so high on them? Well, they do have two amazing prospects who are coming up that happen to fill some of the holes in that lineup. Of course, it's Roman Anthony, who will probably take over Rafaela's spot in the outfield, and of course, it's Christian Campbell, who will either slot into second or short. They are phenomenal prospects with a lot of great hit tools, good defensive tools. I think these two are going to really help carry this Red Sox lineup and just be explosive. They're coming up at some point, and I expect them to produce immediately. And on top of that, this Red Sox rotation is the opposite of Baltimore's, quite frankly, because they're so good, and they look like they're going to be fantastic. The ace of the staff is going to be Garrett Crochet. He's projected to throw 170 innings with 11.7 strikeouts per nine, 2.7 walks per nine, under a home run per nine, good for a 3.04 ERA and a 2.87 FIP. I am high on Crochet. If you didn't know, if you go back and watch the players ranking series, you know this because he has the best fastball of any starting pitcher in baseball. Yes, I'm including Skeens and Sale in this. But he didn't have great off-speed stuff, so he really relied on his fastball to be a setup and an out pitch, which really does not work most of the time. He didn't throw deep into games. But Andrew Bailey is quietly one of the best pitching coaches in baseball. Expect him to retool that sweeper, make it a fantastic out pitch, maybe throw some of that secondary stuff a little bit more. I'm expecting big things from Crochet this year. After him, it's Tanner Houck, who had a sneaky good year last year. He's projected to throw 179 innings with 8 strikeouts per nine, 2.8 walks per nine, under a home run per nine, good for a 3.98 ERA and a 3.78 FIP. Again, Houck, phenomenal arm. He had an incredible first half, really fell off in the second half. He's somewhere in the middle, and I think Houck will be great because of that. After him, it's Brian Bayo, who's projected for 167 innings with 8.2 strikeouts per nine, 3.2 walks per nine, again, under a home run per nine, 4.08 ERA, 3.89 FIP. Yeah, they don't expect the Red Sox to be a good defensive team. And aside from Duran in center, I don't really blame them. But again, Braille, another good arm, dependable, gets you a lot of outs. That's what they kind of need. After him, they're relying on the bounce-back candidate of Walker Buehler. I miss him. But he's projected for 154 innings with 7.6 strikeouts per nine, 3 walks per nine, 1.2 home runs per nine, good for a 4.58 ERA and 4.34 FIP. They're really betting on the fact that the Walker Buehler that showed up after Game 3 of the Division Series against the Padres is the Walker Buehler who they're getting in 2025. And I don't blame him. He looked phenomenal in his final 2 postseason starts against the Yankees and Mets. He really got his confidence, his swagger back. The curveball looked fantastic. The fastball was fantastic. And you saw it play on short rest coming out of the bullpen to save the World Series in Game 5. But I cannot look over the fact that, he had to retool his whole windup. His first start after that didn't necessarily look the best. The hip was flying out, but he started refining it. It was more consistent with his mechanics. I think Buehler is a great buy low candidate. I think he is going to be a great pitcher for them. And after him, it's Cutter Crawford, who's projected to throw 157 innings with 8.7 strikeouts per nine, 2.6 walks per nine, 1.4 home runs per nine, good for a 4.39 ERA and a 4.26 FIP. Again, not the best, but you don't really expect that from your 5-starter. And out of the bullpen, I could talk about Aroldis Chapman, but you know how good he is. Liam Hendricks is coming back for the first time in a long, long time. Good for him beating cancer's ass. Good for him coming back from Tommy John surgery. He's just one of the most likable dudes in baseball. And I hope nothing but for success for him. And that's what Fangraphs is projecting, because he's projected for 10.1 strikeouts per nine, 2.6 walks per nine, 1.1 home runs per nine, and 3.53 FIP. After him, Garrett Whitlock is kind of that next guy. I know they have Chapman, but I think he's probably the number 2 in that bullpen. He's projected for 9.2 strikeouts per nine, 2.2 walks per nine, 1.1 home runs per nine, and 3.63 FIP. Just don't make him a starter. He's never been good as a starter. When coming out of the bullpen, that's when he's at his best. So just let him be a great bullpen arm, and he will dominate in that role. And I think he's going to be a part of a very, very good Red Sox pitching staff. Just if Anthony and Campbell, like I said earlier, hit their ceiling, my God, this Red Sox team is going to be scary. They might even get Alex Bregman, too. We don't know yet, because they have been talked about to get Bregman or Arenado. That's kind of the problem when you start filming before, as pitchers and catchers report. But I think they'll get one of the two. They're going to be good regardless. And, of course, their rivals, the AL pennant winners, the Yankees, are going to win the division. They are a very, very complete team. And that's seen at catcher with Austin Wells and his 107 WRC plus man in the helm there. Free agent acquisition, Paul Goldschmidt has a 114 projected WRC plus at first. Second base is a little bit interesting after Gleyber Torres left. I think it's going to be Jazz Chisholm and his 114 WRC plus there. At third, if it's not Chisholm, it's probably going to be Oswaldo Cabrera and a 99 WRC plus there. At short, Volpe is very good defensively, minus the 5th inning, but he's only projected for a 101 WRC plus. And left, it's going to be the alien Jason Dominguez and his 112 WRC plus. In center field, my himbo, Cody Bellinger, with a 112 WRC plus. In right, the eternally fantastic Aaron Judge and his 170 WRC plus is there. And Giancarlo Stanton with a 117 WRC plus will be their DH. The lineup, again, very, very good. You have a little bit of question marks in what Volpe can do and what Cabrera or whoever they decide to put at third base is there. But aside from that, it's a very good lineup. It's a very deep lineup. Expect big things from Bellinger to pull the ball in that infamously short porch and right. Expect better defense from Judge in center or in right since he's moving back to a corner outfield spot. Very, very solid team overall. Do not sleep on the lineup. No one does. The rotation, a very good rotation as well. You know about Garrett Cole. He's the ace. He's projected through 189 innings with 9.4 strikeouts per nine, 2.5 walks per nine, 1.4 home runs per nine, and good for a 3.9 ERA and a 4.01 FIP. He's the ace for a reason. Dominant pitcher overall. After him, Max Fried is projected to throw 173 innings with 8.6 strikeouts per nine, 2.5 walks per nine, 0.9 home runs per nine, good for a 3.36 ERA and a 3.53 FIP. He is a great pitcher for this ballpark, especially because you have a good infield defense to really support the ground ball stuff from him. Expect big things from Fried. After him, it's been the disappointing Carlos Rodon. There's no word. I'm not mincing words. He's been disappointing since signing that contract. But he's projected for a good season regardless. He's got 10.2 strikeouts per nine over 176 innings projected, with 2.8 walks per nine, 1.4 home runs per nine, 3.91 ERA, and a 3.95 FIP. After him, it's the reigning Rookie of the Year winner, Luis Hill, and his 161 and third innings projected, with 10 strikeouts per nine, 4.2 walks per nine, 1.4 home runs per nine, a 4.41 ERA, and a 4.4 FIP. Overall, command issues and the home run ball have plagued him, but the stuff is so, so good. Hill might be the Dodgers rotation exists. He's the second best 4-starter in baseball. And after him is the second best five starter in baseball in Clark Schmidt with his 3.81 or 138 and a third innings pitched with 8.9 strikeouts per nine, 2.9 walks per nine, 1.2 home runs per nine. Good for a 3.92 ERA and a 3.95 FIP. Overall, very good rotation for the Yankees. They should be fine in that department. They have the money to spend. They have pitching. They have hitting. And in the bullpen, they improved because the Clay Holmes experience was not the best last year. He blew 11 saves, which, dear Lord. But they picked up Devin Williams to be the new closer. He's projected for 11.5 strikeouts per nine, 4 walks per nine, under a home run per nine, and a 3.37 FIP. You know how good Devin Williams is. Even if he was tipping pitches in that wild card series against the Mets, he is one of the best relievers in baseball for a reason. He's going to lock down that closer spot for New York and hopefully provide stability for the first time since Mariano Rivera. After him, Luke Weaver, phenomenal find by Cashman, had a phenomenal season and an even better postseason. He's projected to keep it up with 9.7 strikeouts per nine, 2.5 walks per nine, 1.3 home runs per nine, and a 3.83 FIP. Overall, this Yankees team is so complete. Yes, they do not have Juan Soto, but they used that money elsewhere and got another pitcher for that staff, made it deeper. They improved the lineup with a lot of high floor, even higher ceiling players with Bellinger and Goldschmidt, who I expect to bounce back in a big way this year. Overall, they're the New York Yankees, and you know what you're getting out of them. They arguably might have gotten better than a team that went to the World Series last year. The rest of the American League should be terrified. But let me know in the comments down below. Am I too high on the Red Sox? Am I too low on the Rays? Come yell at me. I encourage it. If you enjoyed the content, go ahead and leave a like, subscribe to the Run the Play Network, and don't forget on the way out, play ball.